Right, context. So, and Maddie. Context is our theme, which is like really broad, isn't it? And I'm sure everyone can say loads about context. I'm not going to try to say much because I find that when you try to explain context, it gets a little bit odd. But I'm going to talk about Maddie. Maddie is a multi-talented woman that I know. She's a singer, multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, composer. So she divides her time between writing music obviously, producing, performing, teaching, and she's also mentoring. She said today that she was doing live, what was it?
Live sound, I forgot
live
about that.
Sound, yeah. She even forgets all the other things that she does. You might know her from Bandioki, which is really popular right now, or ever. I don't know. She's just written all the music for a musical theatre play called Enough is Enough. You might have seen her or known her from there. And she's got lots of what. Do you want to sit down? So she's got lots and lots
to take
of
my tablets over there.
I'm introducing her properly because we're going to do it a little bit like an interview first. And then Maddie is going to talk you through her song, one of her new songs. So she's, I'm going to keep telling you how amazing she is. So she's won the Big Gig Award, which helped her made her first proper album on 2014. Then she won lots of other songwriting awards, and then Best Solo Artist Cardiff Music Award, Best Music Video, the one that you saw up with the half of Maddie, half Maddie, different Maddie, burned to the ground. She is awesome at crowdfunding, I would say, because she managed to get two EPs out by crowdfunding. So I'm telling all of this to you because if you have any questions or you want to grab her at the end and be like, how did you do that? She might be resourceful. And she's right now working on a brand new sound and visual approach to launch in 2018. So after our little interview, she's going to break down her song, but we're going to do a little Q&A first. So your first question is something to do with challenges and rewards. So you perform in lots of different contexts, obviously. You wear in lots of different hats, literally. And
I do have lots of hats.
Yeah, she loves hats. And she looks good in a hat as well. So from running Bandioki to producing your own music, do you want to tell us some challenges or the rewards that you get, or both?
I think the situation for most musicians is obviously trying to do enough flexible work that it enables you to actually live off it. Because a lot of musicians obviously have a day job as well. That's like the sort of stereotype is you need to have a day job as well. But I've tried to work it in such a way that I do a lot of different things so that I don't need to have a day job. I just have lots of different music things.
Related.
So some of them probably take more money than they bring back to me, like the sort of producing my own music because I have to invest in that to make it happen. And then other things that are just there as a sort of money bolster to support the other things. Like I do some guitar teaching. That's not really my goal in life to be a guitar teacher, but that allows me to then go off and pursue other things as well.
Right. So
a challenge would be, I guess, sort of juggling all of those things.
Yeah.
Well, today I'm doing this, and then I'm going to go home and sort of come up with an action plan for the sort of rebranding launch thing next year. So because I do lots of different things, it's very confusing with the branding because it's all under my name, which is a bit weird. But so I'm going to rename the band next year. And it's all going to be brand new because it's a new sound and everything. And then I have to go and host Bandioki for some drunk people at their Christmas do later.
Today?
Yay! It's going to be great.
Is it today?
If anybody knows ICE in Caerphilly, the Innovation Centre, those guys, they're fun. They are friends of mine, so it'll be fun. But
if you have questions, you can jump. Like you can just cut me off and ask. It's fine, right, for you?
Yeah, it's fine.
So your heroes. If you could perform with
I didn't see hero then. It's just like alive or dead.
So one alive, one dead.
Oh,
Joking,
okay.
you don't have to do that. If you could perform with one person, alive or dead, who would it be?
So I don't know whether it would be somebody that would actually be like a good match for what I do, or just the first thought that comes into my head.
First thought, go!
Freddie Mercury, done. My absolute favourite. I was obsessed with him for most of my teenage years.
Yeah, I thought it would be Bowie. I thought you were obsessed
Bowie
with
came later. Well, when you see my laptop, my desktop background is Bowie.
Yeah,
so
that's what I thought.
yeah, I love a bit of Bowie as well. I'd sing in a 10-piece David Bowie covers band where we wear catsuits. It's good.
Have you got, because you know we are Cardiff chapter, have you got local heroes or like anyone that kind of helped you or throughout your journey in Cardiff, or anyone you'll be like?
My producer, Charlie Francis, I've been working with him since the album that I did in 2014. He has worked with people like Sweet the Boo, Future of the Left, R.E.M., people like that. So he's got a good outlook on the industry. He's got sort of like a grumpy man in his 50s outlook on the industry, which is good because I'm like, we could do this. And he's like, no, that'll be terrible. I'm just like, okay, fine. But lots of people, like obviously most people that I know and see on a regular basis are musicians.
Yeah.
I made friends with someone the other day and someone was like, have you noticed that they're not a musician? I was like, amazing. But yeah, like seeing everybody doing their different thing in the Cardiff scene. I feel like you might be setting me up to embarrass Julia as well.
I am. Because it's something you told me before.
Julia.
I want you to say that. Say that.
So when I first came back from uni, which would have been in like 2009, 2010, I went to a gig in a like Working Men's Institute in the Valleys. And Julia was playing, and I thought it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. And I was talking... Still is! She was playing the guitar in an interesting way, and she told me it was because she used to play the bass, and so she was playing the guitar like a bass. So I went home and wrote a song where I played the guitar like a bass, and it was awesome.
How cool is that?
And now I have a bass.
Now you don't have to do that.
Yeah?
Just play the bass. Your favourite Christmas song? Sorry for the cheese, but...
Oh.
And the reason, because...
Well, there was a video up of me earlier doing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. I don't know why I chose to do that one when I filmed that video, because it's really sad. It's a really sad Christmas song.
Okay. I didn't...
My actual favourite one. I quite like Step Into Christmas, Elton John. Yes. I don't know what it is, it's just got like a sort of... makes you kind of like anxiously excited, because the...
So,
I remember being very hyper to that song as a kid. And you don't hear it as much as the other ones, so you're not sick of it yet.
Yeah.
Like Fairy Tale New York or something. I've heard way too much Fairy Tale New York, and somebody's going to sing it later, and they're going to be drunk.
I love that song so much.
Oh, if they're drunk, it'll probably sound better, won't it?
Yeah, that's the purpose of that song.
Yeah.
So, jump to the next one. Maddie has a real like DIY approach to her music, but like I think to her life as well. To like even today, this is quite DIY right now.
Check out my...
Yeah, see?
If you don't have a belt, duct tape it on.
So she even like designs her album covers herself. So do you want to tell us a bit, like how do you even do that?
Well, the reason for it is because obviously things cost money, like studio time to record and that. So it gets to the point then where I need some artwork. I'm like, I don't have any money to pay anyone to do artwork. So I borrowed someone's computer who's got Photoshop.
This is our first two.
Sit there. I didn't do that one on the left actually. That's somebody I've never met. There was an artist who was exhibiting at Made in Roath.
Oh, right.
And I was doing a gig there and I saw it. And I was like, who's this? And the guy gave me like an email address and I emailed her. And I was like, do you want to do a thing? She was like, yeah, cool. And we never ended up meeting each other. She just drew that, which was pretty cool. But that one on the right, that was my first Photoshop attempt. So I don't know how to use Photoshop. I don't have it. I had to borrow someone's computer with it on. I was just like, if I put that there and then click that. And so it took a long time, much longer time than it probably should have. Same with those two.
She drew that on the left.
The one on the sort of mandala thing was hand drawn, and then I probably cried and swore a lot trying to make it into a vector because I didn't really understand what that was. And then on my arms was like a previous draft of the mandala, which I tried to make it look like tattoos. That was a photo by Kitty Radford, who does a lot of like alternative pin-up photography.
Oh, right.
So sort of tattooed girls and stuff.
Right.
I think that's why I put tattoos on my arms, just trying to be cool with them. And then the one on the right is from the Burnt to the Ground video, where that's actually my nan's attic. So on the right-hand side is a sort of fake wall that my mum made, because she's a set designer. And then my dad's carpet from his study, which we stole and put in the attic. And then we borrowed it was a very big piece of, like, what's it called, lino dance floor that I borrowed from Blackwood Miners Institute, from the lighting tech there. And then we painted put some boards up and painted them white, and then I stapled myself into that outfit that is half and half. These old clothes of mine. You can't really see it very clearly, but that side is sort of all scraped back and absolutely no makeup whatsoever. So in the video I'm like red and shiny. It's amazing. And then on the other side is like super done up with glitter.
And that's the one you've got
even got like half and half lipstick.
Got an award for that video?
That was the one that was nominated for Best Music Video, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't win though.
Oh, I thought you won.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. It's all right. He needs awards. Right, songwriting process. Do you want to tell us about your songwriting, DIYing process?
Yeah, so it's
and
changed
how does it start as an idea, or how do you end up?
It's changed a lot, and it depends on the context of whether I'm writing something that I tried. Like, it's very difficult as you go along to not just sort of be completely tripped up before you start by thinking like, is this good enough at every stage? Like, you've probably seen that image where it's like the creative process, and it goes like, you start, this is tricky, this is shit, and then it turns into this is awesome by the end, and it just keeps sort of cycling around those things. So I have to try and you have to get rid of your editor brain when you're writing and just do stupid things. Like, I wrote a Morse code solo into a song the other day. Sounded really bad, so I took it out again. But then later on, I then put it back in on a different instrument, and it's just like underneath everything else. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, I can stay in now. But so when we did Enough is Enough, the play, the songwriting process for that was very intense, because we were all going to the studio at like 6 p.m, staying there till midnight. I think we were there for 6 days in a row, and I basically had to write all the music for the show, which was 7 songs because 2 were done. And the director literally being like, right, so we need this one, and you've decided it's going to be like a 4-part choir piece, yeah? And I was like, yeah, but I can't really like write that here without a piano. He's like, I'm going to get you a piano. I sort of went off and came back in with a keyboard and put it down in front of me. It was like,
now
so I literally wrote it in front of him. Just kind of
while
going,
he's watching you.
yeah, he's literally just like, go on. Okay. So that was me sort of using classical brain, because I studied classical composition in uni, using that to try and work that out with all the crunchy harmony. But the way that I write my own stuff has usually been to write with a guitar and vocals, and writing the whole song that way so it can be performed on its own, and then adding stuff later. But what I'm doing now that's different is sort of writing in a really sort of mosaic-y kind of way.
Yeah, do you want to, should we show
Yeah, I can demonstrate if we plug all this stuff in.
Oh.
So instead of writing like a whole part all the way through, I come up with like little mini ideas. And then they all get pieced together, quite often get taken back out again, put back in, changed around. And it means you get quite a different result in the end. Oh, pretty colours. I'm just gonna connect to this guy again, because it's gone away. Give me Bluetooth.
See, DIY. It's all about, today is all about DIY.
Okay, so this program here is called Reason, which I started using, and I was very reticent about using it for ages. I had it, and I was too afraid to use it because it's complicated. Look at it. Oh my god. So it's got all of this going on, which is quite intimidating. Same as Photoshop, really. That's quite intimidating.
Oh yeah, layers and layers.
Right, they are connected. So I think the first thing that I came up for this particular song was the bass part, which is here. You can see it's called Boost ES. I don't know if you can see that on there. So this is played on a tiny, tiny little keyboard that doesn't look like it can sound that low. Let's see if I can... Where's our sound gone? We should be having sound out of there.
Yeah, this happens. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
So that's a keyboard. It's quite farty, sort of intentional. I've kind of gone off the sound of real instruments. I kind of like the fakeness quite a lot. So we've got that on a keyboard, and then you can see later on here, I don't know if you see at the top, it is sort of split into sections. You see it says chorus up there? So when it gets to the chorus, then I've doubled it up. So it's really fat. So that's what I started with. And then I found these samples. So these are sort of like if you were going to take like a stock image, like a royalty-free stock image, and just chop it up and play around with it. This is what I've done here. So this is a bowed guitar. So that's like an electric guitar just with a violin bow going like that. And then we've got some reversed vocals here.
Is it reverse human voice?
That's a female voice. It's quite intense. And then behind that, we've got this sort of weird synthy pad thing. Sounds a bit like we're in Ibiza at like 6 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, I'm so tired. So we've got that going on behind there. I think I sort of had these sort of things in place when I sort of decided that I needed to work on what the chorus was going to be, because normally when you choose the words for the chorus, you've then got an idea of what it's going to be about. So the chorus vocal is very simple. If I find, there's some backing vocals as well. Intimate, we're to it. Intimate, we're to it. We're obviously in puppy range there. Just like, whoa, what's happening? I'm sorry, is it loud? Oh. So, intimate, I decided. So it's sort of, anyone who's heard this song is like, so basically you hate it when people are really intimate with each other. I'm like, no, it's not what it means. It's basically about the, what I did was type the word intimate into Google Images, which is a really fun thing to do if you're trying to come up with ideas for a song. And it's all these like soft focus, black and white. So imagine like we're on the beach and we're like this, and this is intimacy. And I was like, no, intimacy is when you wake up next to each other like this. You're like, oh, your breath smells. Oh, like that. I love you, bye. I was like, that's what it really actually looks like. But you get all this sort of like photoshopped kind of, oh, look how beautiful it is. And everyone wakes up and they look perfect already. I was like, no, that's not what it is at all. So that's where the lyrics came from. So I'll play a bit of the verse. The sun's not always shining on us, not always black and white and flawless. We can't fall asleep if our skins are touching, and we don't look good when it's just us. There's no romantic filter on this scene, but we're more intimate than we used to be. So that's my like Lion King backing vocals there. So yeah, I got the sort of concept, and I think I got all the lyrics in place by that point, because lyrically a song is really good if it obviously has a thing that it's trying to say, but goes somewhere with it as well. So there's, I think it's called prosody. That's a good word. I'm not sure if I'm using it right. But where you start with concepts. You could start with like the past, and then you go into the present, and then you go into the future, so the song's got some sort of like direction to it. That's what I tend to try and go for. Then at this point, I was like, it needs some drums. Definitely needs some drums, but I'm not a fan of real drums anymore. So I don't know if you can see that top line there. See where it's all like lots of little pieces, because I chopped it to within an inch of its life. I'll take it in closer. So these are all like the individual beats that I've put where I want them. So we'll listen to that. Take the vocals away. Ah! got that weird sort of typewriter sound on the top as well. Because typewriters are cool. I did consider having a typewriter on stage, and one of us playing it, and the band were like, "He's so stupid." I have seen a guy playing a typewriter on stage though.
Where was that?
Mylier, someone in North Wales. He also had like a baking tray full of gravel that he crunched around in the middle of a song. It was good. I mean, that is going to take a long time to set up. So yeah, and then we've got some more sort of weird patchy things in a different section of the song, if I can find that. Where are we? And I've also got a little bit of obsession with always adding like a slightly gangster lead synth part towards the end of a song. I'll show you what I mean now. Here's the one I'm looking for. So the bridge section of the song, that's where you'd normally get to like 2/3 of the way through a song. It's like the bit where it's different, it's not a verse or a chorus. Which is what I'm trying to find right now. Not doing a very good job of it. Where's it gone?
That was that
There it
button.
is. Bridge. So this is the weird patch that I've got going on in the bridge. It's got like a sort of chanty thing going on.
Oh.
And then, where's my gangster lead gone? So I think I'm sort of into hip hop, but I don't know it yet.
Is this the gangster lead?
It's a little gangster lead, I love it.
Ah, I see now.
So then there's lots of other things in there that just sort of add texture, like this guitar part here, which has got a weird effect on it. I'm going to show you up here. See this little robot guy? That's on the guitar, which is why it sounds so weird. So a lot of these things then end up putting more and more effects on. I should point out as well, this is my demo, this isn't the final version of the track. So I've sent this over to my producer, who is now, I saw him last night and he's like, I've done things to it. I'm just like, okay, good, that'll be exciting. There's obviously a lot of backing vocals in there, I've shown you all that stuff. Some of this is MIDI here, that's just sort of like programming in the notes if I want it to play out on a different instrument. So my boyfriend who's in the band plays a thing called the modular synth, which is, it looks like, if you've ever seen like a sort of black and white picture from the 50s where they've got like a wall like this and it's all like leads all over the place, like multicolored spaghetti everywhere. And it's like they're imagining what the future's going to be like in 2000. And it's like, no, it looks like that. So that can, these sort of parts can be sent out to that to program it to play them. So it's like become an extra member of our band basically. And then the other things that we've got at the end. So I spent a lot of my life learning how to play the clarinet, which I never play now. So occasionally I'm like, I'm going to put some clarinet in it. So this is what happened with the clarinet. And then I doubled it and dropped it down an octave. Ooh. So it's like a bass clarinet, and then I did a high one as well. Yay! A little clarinet choir. And then the last thing that comes in at the very end of the song is called Nice Bell. Ah.
Are we going to hear the song?
It's quite nice, isn't it?
We're going to listen to the whole song.
So all of these things, basically, at the moment, I've been sort of just trying to write in a way where I'm not thinking too hard about how it's going to happen on stage. I'm just like, that sounds cool. So it's going to get to the point now when we finish this song, we'll be like, right, how do we actually achieve that live? So it's going to involve like sample pads and backing tracks and the drummer playing to a click track and all this sort of thing. But I tried not to think about that because in the past I've always held myself back being like, oh no, we can't do that live. Whereas now it's like, I'm going to do it and then we're going to work out later how we're going to do it live because then it'll be better. Again, trying not to like restrict your creativity while you're still doing it. I think you've got to be completely selfish while you're creating and just be like, no, I'm doing it. I'm putting a Morse code solo in. I don't care what you say. That wasn't this song, that was a different song. So just trying to create completely selfishly and freely, and then later on go in and be like, yeah, that does sound a bit bad, take it out. But do it at the end, once you've got the thing done. So now I'm going to make sure that everything is in and play you the whole song, so you can hear everything in context. So this is called Intimate. This is my demo of it. It doesn't exist yet in the world, but it will soon. Don't think anyone likes it as much as I do. It's going to be your favourite song next time. Oh yeah, no drums. Confuse everyone for a bit. Don't do that. That was the end. He's decided he wants to play a bit of it again. So I haven't worked out how I'm going to play 3 clarinets and do 3 vocal parts at the same time, but it's fine.
You'll be fine. So
there you go.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.